And a welcome here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We appreciate you being here inside of the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Great Lakes Honda City coming to you on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. They're open Monday through Saturday for sales and service. And of course, you can let them know the DT sent you. You can get a sneak peek of their new and used vehicles by going to Great Lakes Honda City. The only place where I've gotten my vehicles for over a decade, including my 2025 Honda CRV. So thank you to Elijah, Malik, Mark, and everybody over at Great Lakes Honda City. With that being said, inside of MonPazPopcorn.com is what's popping. We have four guests here today, two special pieces and four guests altogether in our Dolphin Dive and our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with the Moyne College Dolphins. We'll start things off here. Picture in picture with Nate Champion, the head coach of the Moyne College Dolphins men's basketball program, heading into year 3 in the transition from Division II to Division I in the NCAA. And in hour number 2, you'll have a triple dose of the Bobcat Buzz in our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with Bryant and Stratton College of Syracuse. We will be featuring DeCoursey, Corley, as well as Camden, Atkinson, following signing their national letters of intent with Bryant and Stratton College of Syracuse, and head coach Clay Gagen-Sherman in a trio of Bobcat Buzz specials heading into the 2025-26 season. So with that being said, up and down the East Coast, the Midwest, the West Coast, and all around the globe, thank you for being with us on YouTube.com and Facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT and on WakeUpCallDT.podbean.com. Picture in picture here with someone I have known for many years. I have lost track, Nate, of how many years we know each other. So maybe you could enlighten me here. I think it's from when you came in to become the head coach. I sat in your office. So how many years in your recollection have you and I known each other?
Well, this is going on year 6, so I would say around that.
Yeah, around 6
Yeah.
years, more than half a decade. And I was thinking that I was like, I know it's around 5, at least 5, but going into year 6 for you at Moyne, obviously you played there. And so, you have your playing days and your memories of that. But as you are in year 6 as the head coach of the program, what can you say from year 1 to year 6 for you has, I don't want to say changed, but when you look at the progression of the last 6 years, where did you start and where do you feel like you are right now if you did that kind of look in the mirror for Nate Champion?
Yeah, I mean, well, first off, I was 27 years old, becoming a head coach. Was kind of drinking from a fire hose at this point,
Yeah.
when we first met. And, I still feel like there's a lot of change that goes on each year. And one of the biggest ones is our transition to Division One. I think
Yeah.
Lemoyne made the decision. Now this will be year 3 that we're going into, but Lemoyne made this decision, and it's been a good one. I think for our program, it's really gotten us, to be able to recruit at a national level, and we've gotten guys from overseas, we've gotten guys from the West Coast, the East Coast. I mean, in all states in between. So, for us, I think it really helps us in the recruiting aspect, and I think just building this program and growing this program as I grow as a coach and continue to learn as much as I can. I think that's one thing that I would say as a 27-year-old, I didn't know how much I didn't know, and then going into it now, there's still things that pop up and things, that we can be better at, but
Yeah.
at least we have a better grasp on, kind of where we want to go, what we're looking for, and how I want to do things, in our program. And I think you're seeing a reflection of that, with the guys that we bring in. And when you speak to our players, we bring in a certain type of player, and it's good to have those guys on our team.
You said at 27 years old, becoming a head coach, you were drinking from a fire hose. Do you ever have a moment now where you feel like you have that kid aspect or going back and humbling yourself and drinking from the fire hose?
I think more just like understand, what's coming your way. And,
Yeah.
um, I think the women's basketball coach at Duke, Carol Lawson, she had a quote one day that, kind of went viral, but it was like, life's hard and nothing really, it doesn't get easier. You just learn how to do hard better. And I feel like that's something that I've kind of, adjusted to is, it doesn't really get easier. You're just trying to figure it out. And when you have gone through a few things, you try to use those life experiences to help you get through the current ones. And I feel like that's, been something that's really kind of saved me is just, trying to continue to grow and embracing the hard stuff. I feel like that's how you get through life. So just trying to do that every day.
And for you, like you said, heading into year six, this is year three of the transition. So for you, in half of the time that you've been the head coach at Moyne, they've been transitioning from one division to another in the NCAA. You're in a very unique place, right? Because, like you said, 27 years old, you come in as a head coach, but then halfway through, they say, guess what, Nate? We're going from D2 to D1. We're going to leave the NE10, which we're going to go into the NEC. So I know you said it's been great for your program recruiting wise, but for you to be a young coach and right in the middle of your time at Moyne, being the head coach, having that transitionary period, what has that done to challenge you uniquely, knowing that there are plenty of coaches around this country in college basketball that are not transitioning from one division to another in the middle of their career?
Yeah, I think, for me, kind of my time here, it's always been a change, with getting here and then Matt Bassett stepping down as the athletic director to having an interim and Tim Fenton, and then running it into COVID. And that really, was a 2 year, 2.5 year thing.
Yeah.
Um, and then kind of getting back on track with, our program and having the team that we had 2 years ago, all ready to go for Division 2, and then being told that, we were going to go Division 1. I feel like, it's always been kind of a changing time here at Lemoyne in my 6 years, but I feel like, everybody that we have here in the leadership team, from President Lemura, the board of trustees, all the way down to, our support staff that we have in our program, and I feel like everybody's kind of embraced those changes and kind of rolled with the punches and figured it out. And I think that's why you see Lemoyne kind of thriving through all this stuff.
And like you said, I mean, there's always been change while you've been there. There's always been things you've had to go through. There's been the athletic director changes, as you mentioned, as well as the transitionary changes, and then going through COVID. Is it kind of a joke in your mind at this point of like coming from an off season, going into a season of like, maybe this one will be normal. Maybe this will just be recruiting and putting a schedule together. Do you think about that at all?
I think you always kind of are prepared for your plan B, or whatever that is. If it's the change in schedule, if it's the change in, athletic directors, which we've had three changes in my 6 years here. So, um, I think there's always, you have a plan and you have, what you feel like it's going to work, but you also have to be ready to change on the fly and adjust and be successful in doing that. And I think, just being as prepared as possible and understanding, what can change and how it changes,
Yeah.
is going to help you be successful through that. And I think, it's not only Lemoyne. I mean, look at college athletics in general, going through a huge change right now with the NIL era, and then hopefully this house settlement will calm some of that stuff down. But we're all changing. Everybody in the country is going through change right now. So it's all about embracing that and trying to figure out how to be successful in it.
And we look at that house settlement that you brought up, and we know that as part of that, the autonomy group, which the PAC apparently is still a part of, whatever that's going to look like. But when you look at the ACC, the PAC, as well as the SEC, the Big Ten, and the Big 12, the agreement that now for this upcoming year, $20.5 million. When I was speaking with Phil Brown, the new leader of athletics at Lemoyne, as well as speaking with Noreen Morris, the commissioner of the NEC, the conference that you're in, they had talked to me about the fact that not every conference has to opt in. Outside of the autonomy group, not everybody has to opt in. Conferences can decide or schools can talk about it. What is your thought on this? Because obviously an opt-in means roster limitations. It means money for your student athletes, but it also means a school having to raise that money because not everybody has an extra $20 million laying around. So how have you as a coach kind of looked at that house settlement and what it could mean for a place like Lemoyne and the NEC?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's always ways to look at both sides. I think there's a lot of pros obviously for opting in and kind of having that understanding of, hey, we're gonna choose to do this through our school, and um, it kind of eliminates some of the third party, the unknown things that, were going on before. But there's also, like you said, the roster limitations and things that can be, a burden to a small school for sure.
Yeah.
But I also think, there's pros to not opting in and being able to kind of do what we need to do right now. As we're transitioning, I feel like it's a unique position for us because the transitioning programs don't really have an option one way or the other right now. So
Yeah.
I think, that'll be a decision that we'll probably look at pretty heavily as we, move forward. But I have, total faith in Linda, Lemura, and Phil, and they kind of know what that entails and why it would be or not be good for Lemoyne. And I'm going to really trust them to make those decisions, and whatever they decide, we're going to be all in. So.
With you as a head coach, looking at how things are right now, you and I had a conversation a few years ago, right there in your office, and you said the second question that came out of a recruit's mouth was, "What's the NIL situation?" And that was a few years ago.
Mhm.
So when you look at this, and like you said, a transitionary school, you're in a unique situation, and obviously the president, the board of trustees, everyone's got to figure out how they essentially want to go about making the decision for Lemoyne, and then the NEC has to look at it, right, and speak to their membership. If it was your decision, knowing where college athletics is now and being out there recruiting with your staff, do you think it's more beneficial to have that opt in where you have that money that's always going to be there for NIL and then having to deal with the roster limits? Or do you say, hey, in order for Lemoyne to be Lemoyne still, we we can raise NIL money, but let's not put ourselves in a situation where it's kind of dictated to us how much it is, and let's not be in a place where we have to cut scholarships. I mean, if you had to kind of feet to the fire having been a player, knowing what comes with it and what doesn't come with it, or what comes without it, I should say, how would you view it right now?
Well, I think kind of like you said, opting in, it you know, kind of says, okay, hey, you know, we're going to be able to pay players and take care of our players. I mean, just because it's a $20 million salary cap doesn't mean you have to get to the 20 million, and um, I think there's obviously something that is to be said for, your players understanding that and
Yeah.
saying, hey, your program opted in, like, what does that look like, and being able to explain that. But also at the same time, there's the ability to still have success without opting in, and understanding that, there's ways like we've always been doing is, to be successful. And I think for me, it's just really relying on, our leadership to make the best decision. I don't think that's really a decision that I have an opinion on right now, one way or the other. Really focused on just our current roster and the season that we have coming ahead, and really trying to build up the Lemoyne men's basketball program as best I can. And as we learn more and as we kind of see what's happening, we can kind of sit back and see, hey, what does this look like? What are some programs that are, you know, similar to us doing, and how are they having success? And I'm sure we're going to look at both, programs that do opt in and programs that don't opt in, and make a pros and cons list and figure it out. I think, again, that's a decision that's going to be, above me, and I really trust, Phil and Linda and the rest of our leadership team and everybody at the school really to make the best decision. I mean, if you look at Lemoyne, we've really built ourselves on making difficult decisions and taking our time and making the right ones. And I think, it's not going to change for this one.
Nate Champion coming to us in this edition of the Dolphin Dive inside of our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with Lemoyne College here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. speaking on all of that, and the reason why I ask is because you're not your everyday coach, Nate. You bring in really good character people. And we live in a world right now where, I mean, I think history has shown us if you make it about the money, that's never a good thing. So I think, obviously that money piece is something, but it can't be the thing. And for you, when you are out there recruiting, because of the character guys you bring in and just what they stand for, how they are in the classroom. I've met so many of the guys, some of the guys I knew before they came into Lemoyne. So, really, for you, do you feel like you can still recruit the same way in a world where there's pay for play, which they said it was never going to be, in a world where there's collectives, in a world where there's NIL, in the world where transfer portal has very little parameters for the players, so it really does feel like free agency. Tampering seems like a normal thing now for coaches to do and institutions to do. So can you coach and recruit the same way that you always have? And can you still go and get those character guys and those quality guys who are genuinely good people, not just good basketball players, in a world where things have gotten pretty murky with free agency and pay for play?
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, like what you stand for as a person, what you stand for as a coach, and what your programs, what you're building your program to stand for, those things don't change. Obviously, there's going to be players that come in and come out of the program, and our goal is to maximize their time here and show them why Lemoyne is a special place. And I think no matter what, like you're always going to try and get the guys that really fit and what you're trying to do. For us, I think it's identifying players that not only fit on the basketball court and what we're trying to do there, but also in the Lemoyne community and on campus. For us, we try to stick to our pillars of our program, and we really try to identify guys that fit those things and are about the right stuff. And I think for us, it's always about getting guys that are high character and that are wanting to succeed, for a greater good than just themselves. And obviously with NIL and all the things that come with college sports and especially college basketball now, there's always going to be things that we try to do to take care of our players and make sure that they understand how grateful we are for them being here. And there's, opportunities that come for some guys as well. And, when those things come up, there's not really much we can do about it. It's part of it right now. So, like I said, just kind of embracing the changes of college basketball and really focusing on the 15 guys that we have, on our roster each year and try to make the most of it. And I think with the guys that we bring in and the understanding of Lemoyne that we show them and how special of a place this is, there's a reason why we don't lose, three quarters to 90% of our roster like some of the other schools that you'll see. But, I think we just try to do a great job of building our community, our family, and our culture, and let the rest of the situations be the rest of the situations. We'll handle those when they come, prepare ourselves the way that we can prepare ourselves, and we go from there. I think when you start trying to just do things for the money or, you only look at the talent on the court, you can only get so far, and sometimes it ends up backfiring, and then you have to kind of just restart everything. And I think for us, identifying guys that really fit with what we're trying to do, what we try to accomplish year in and year out here, um, those things don't really change. So we want guys that want to come and play for Lemoyne and that want to be part of something bigger than just, a paycheck.
Yeah, and I can appreciate that and respect that obviously for who you are, and like I said, a lot of the guys that you've brought through the program and just the way that they've treated me, the way that they treat the community, the way they treat people in general. So to that effect, when we look at recruiting, what can you say about this 2025-26 roster of returnees as well as newcomers?
I think we'll start with the returners, obviously. Anytime you have a returning group that has guys like, Nate Fouts and Dangarang and Trent Mosquera, as your older group, I mean, that's a great foundation to build off of. And we have some younger guys like Jacob Blakely and Isaac Niakundi who, are coming back for their second years, and Trevor Rowe, same thing. Trevor coming off of a back injury. He's been looking good in the gym and seems like he's, kind of back to being healthy. So I'm really excited for those guys to kind of take that next step forward. And we've talked a lot about even just how it's really important for those guys to continue to build the foundation of the program. I think at some point, like your time ends in college, for me, it was just after 4 years, but now some guys get 6 or 7. And whenever that time is, I think you want to really, look back and see how you affected a program and see how you changed it or grew it. I think for those guys, the time to do that's now. We have a great returning group. We worked their tails off in the spring, and I can't forget to mention Sam Donnelly and Kalen Thomas, who Kalen, this is his 4th year on the team, and Sam's second. But guys that really put their time in the spring and did everything they could to maximize their time that we had together. And then bringing in the new guys that we have coming in, I think having those guys that are coming back really be part of the recruiting process. Getting to hang out with the recruits when they were on campus and really getting to know them, taking time to know them, and deciding how they'd fit in our program and leaning on those guys to figure out what they liked, what they didn't like, and making a team decision with the recruits that we have coming in. So I think when we did that, it really kind of opened up, the guys that we were trying to get. They really came in here and saw what we were trying to build and gave them some insight into our program and the culture that we have here. So the new guys that we have coming in, I think they're a great group. I think there's a ton of potential with them. We have guys from all over the place. I mean, we have 2 guys from the state of Washington, a kid from Indiana, kid from Tennessee, Ohio. And I think, just having those guys on one from the country of Colombia. So for us, just having a kind of a mixing bowl of guys, but also guys that have same core values and same, goals that they want to achieve as a player, I think are things that can really make a difference for us.
There's a reality in the world we live in today of having positionless players, guys that you can kind of plug and play wherever you want to because the game has changed. And, obviously we've seen big guys that could dribble the ball and shoot the three. And we've seen, guys that maybe be smaller that want to post up and do some things inside. So have you found yourself in a place of when you are recruiting, looking for positionless players at times to look for guys that are not necessarily the 5 or the 3 or I mean, I know your point's got to be your point and you have to have your general, but have you looked more positionless in recent recruiting of guys that you can kind of just mix up in different lineups and put in different places as opposed to basketball that we've seen of old where you're specifically looking for this forward, specifically looking for a big man down low? What can you say to that effect?
I mean, I think you're always going to try to be as versatile as possible. If someone wants to play a big lineup against you, you can have counters. If they want to go small, you can have counters to that as well. And I think you're always trying to build your roster to be as versatile and to build the depth in each position that you have. I think one of the nice things about us is we have guys that are unique. So it's not like in the scouting report you have 4 or 5 guys that do exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
So, as we build our roster, as we, continue to grow our program, I think, identifying guys that just are going to fit with what we want to do offensively and defensively and not necessarily pigeonholing ourselves into, saying like, I want this quality and that quality only. If we can have a guy that can really shoot the ball, but he, leads our team, in assist to turnover ratio, that's something that we're always going to value. Or a guy that can really block shots, but he can step out and hit threes too. I mean, those are things that you want to really take a look at. And I think, the versatility that we bring in with our roster, along with the guys that are coming back and how well they've, improved over the spring and throughout the year. I just feel like this group is really going to come in with a chip on their shoulder and being hungry to figure out how to be successful, not only in non-conference play, but in conference play as well.
And you brought up a bunch of the guys returning. Obviously, went through your roster, but for guys like Dang as well as Nate and Trent that have given you, a lot of minutes on the floor, given you some opportunities to see what the future could look like. What can you say to the leadership that comes from that, and where those guys maybe have elevated themselves and excelled? I mean, I know I've seen Nate from the beginning of the beginning. I know Deng came in and waited his turn, and obviously Trent's been out here doing his work as well. So when you look at those three guys, what can you say to the effect of how they came in to what they give to you now and their progression individually, as well as potentially giving you some leadership this year?
Yeah, I feel like just the growth process, coming in as a freshman and trying to figure out, what college basketball is all about and trying to figure out, the physicality piece, fitting in on the floor with older guys and understanding that, there comes a time where it becomes your program, where it becomes you are the leader now and you're not just sitting back and waiting. And I felt like this past year was a big learning process for all three of those guys. Guys like Nate Fouts, who played from the jump, and Trent, who unfortunately got injured, right after the Manhattan game. And, just having those guys that have experience but are getting bigger role now,
Yeah.
to guys like Dang, who really waited his turn and continued to do the right things. And then when he got his opportunity, made the most of it. I just feel like when those things happen, there's always that learning curve of, okay, now it's my turn to lead, and what does that look like? Where do I want that to go? Where do we need to get better at? And although, our record wasn't great last year, I felt like the learning curve for those three and what they learned going through that process is going to set us up for, a much better year coming forward, and hopefully a much better year for all three of those guys, because they've worked so hard. They're in the gym all the time. They're great people to be around. They're above 3.0 in the classroom, and it's just a reflection of everything that our program, stands for, and just really taking time to invest in our own guys. And I think it's easy to look at the portal and say, oh, this, we can get better than this guy or that guy, but you know, just investing in our players and developing our own players, I feel like just raises our ceiling of the program so much more. And those guys are going to show, a lot of what the player development looks like here at Lemoyne, and how, good of a product it is. So, as far as the leadership, I think they understand what they need to do, where they want the program to go, and giving them a pretty good direction on how to accomplish it. So excited for them to get back, excited to see them lead, starting on Monday.
And you said words that some people might be allergic to in today's college basketball. You said develop. You said build through. Come in as a freshman. These are all things that I value tremendously. And you and I have been talking about. Can you still do the things you want to do in the changing climate of collegiate athletics? But you said you want people to see this team, see the development, and see what you do there at Lemoyne. Just to speak to that part of it, like you said, yeah, we can go into the portal, we can bring this guy in or that, but we like developing players. We like bringing guys in as freshmen. We like seeing them grow through the program. I'd love for you to go a little bit deeper into the importance of that for you, that you are a coach that still wants to develop players, wants to have similar faces year in and year out. Like you said, 90% of the roster isn't leaving every year. And just, what Lemoyne provides for, I don't want to call it the nostalgia of basketball, but I guess to some people it is, that you're still a program that works in development and seeing somebody come through a program, not have a guy who's been to four places in 4 years.
Yeah, I mean, I think just understanding like what your purpose is as a coach. It's not all about just wins and losses. I think, my purpose here is to develop and grow young men. And I feel like doing that, it's not, I care about you if you do this for me. You do everything just to try and help that, individual become a better person, become a better player. And it doesn't mean that in this day and age they're going to be here for 4 or 5 years, but if they are, you're going to invest the time um, into them as if they are every single time, and some guys they'll be here for 1 year, some guys will be here for five, and you got to love them and just develop that relationship with them as best you can. And at the end of the day, you're trying to maximize their potential with you. And if that means they're with you forever, that's great, and that's what we want. I think you see some of like if you come into my office, there's some jerseys hanging around and some trophies and things like that of guys that have really put their time into this program and, have changed it. And I think, for us, it's developing that. It's showing the guys how much we really care about them. And at the end of the day, if their decision is to stay here at Lemoyne, then we're going to welcome them with open arms. And if their decision is to move on from Lemoyne, it's an understanding of what today's climate is. You're not going to keep every single person on your roster, and you're not going to lose every single person on your roster. But when you develop and you just show that you really care about them as a person, not just a transactional, if you play well, then I care more about you. Um, yeah, I think that just goes a long ways, and I feel like that really develops the trust, and not only, me as a coach, but also, as a program and as a school here at Lemoyne, just opening guys with open arms and just watching the maturation process happen. I mean, it's amazing. Some guys that come in as 18-year-old freshmen, and when they leave 22, 23 years old, you look back and you can tell some of the stories about some of the stuff they were doing as freshmen, and they just laugh and shake their head. Um,
Yeah.
I think there's a lot that goes into all the things that are happening in college basketball right now. But I also think for us, our main purpose as coaches is to grow young men and to try and help them be as successful as they can be when they enter into the real world. So, that's our job, that's our focus, and that, the main thing has to stay the main thing.
And you said, there's a lot of stuff happening in college basketball, and we've spoken about it. House settlement, NIL, transfer portal, realignment. As a coach, obviously you know what's going on, but do you feel like you have mastered the art of kind of just shutting the door and saying, okay, I know this, I saw this, I saw it on social media, I saw the video on YouTube of the settlement, and this is what this means. I mean, do you kind of give yourself the time to learn it, know it, read through an article, and then shut that door and say to your staff, like, hey, ball is ball. We still got to watch this film. We still got to look at what guys we want to bring in. Who do we want to bring in more than somebody else? What makes sense? Are we going to switch positions for this player? What type of lineups are we going to utilize? How are we going to make this schedule? Do we have the hotels that we need for this season? I mean, do you feel like you kind of give yourself the time to know the bigger picture, but ball is still ball? Do you feel like you can kind of stay true to that and say, hey, there's things I can't change. There's things that I'm not going to be able to make a decision on, and I'm going to know them, and I'm going to be prepared for when they hit my doorstep. But, I'm going to keep the main thing, like you said.
Yeah, I think you always have to be prepared, right? Like understanding what could come, what's happening around you, and being prepared. Obviously, parents and kids read that stuff too. So, those questions come up, and if you don't know what they're talking about, it's hard to relate, and it's hard to really sell a kid on why Lemoyne's the best if they don't think you know what you're talking about. So, for me, yeah, of course you have to stay up to date. You have to understand what could be coming your way, but at the end of the day, like I said, it's really about investing your time and effort into the student athletes and giving them the best experience you possibly can. And that's really what we have to do. We can't sit here and just worry about what's happening all around us. We really have to focus in on our team and what we're trying to accomplish. And I think that goes the same for our guys on our team. Like, there's I'm sure guys that will be recruited throughout the year, even though they're not supposed to be. And when that happens, they have to be able to still keep their eyes on what we're trying to accomplish as a team, and
Yeah.
then after the season, make a decision for what's best for them. But For me, I just really try to focus on our guys, our current roster, and our program, and try to make it the best program we can possibly make it. And if we focus on that every day, and that's really what we're trying to do day in and day out, then at the end of the year, I think we can look back and we'll see a lot of success.
And you and I have talked about this before. What can you tell us for 2025-26 about this schedule? Is there anything that you can look at you shaking your stop shaking your head, Nate?
Yeah, you ask this every year, and you probably get the same answer.
From you, well,
Um,
yeah. From you on the air, yes. You're very political. I think yeah, maybe you should run against Hochul this year. Can you make it
I don't
happen?
know about that, but yeah, I think our schedule is full of names that people will know around the area, and I think there's a lot of opportunity for us, and not just opportunity for us to be out on the floor, but to continue to grow our brand at a national level. And I think when the schedule does come out, it'll be I think there will be some heads turning about who we're playing, but I think there will be a good opportunity for us to have 31 games on the schedule, and hopefully we can make the most of it. And by the time January hits, we're playing great basketball.
Yeah, and before we jump into rapid fire, I do want to make a note of the fact that the NEC, the Northeast Conference, is they don't shy away by any stretch of the imagination of stating that they are basketball first. That is their focus. So knowing that, being in a conference where basketball is that limelight, the biggest limelight, so to speak, of the NEC, do you feel that? I mean, do you feel the fact that at Lemoyne and in the conference that you're in, like, hey, men's and women's basketball here, those are the front running programs when it comes to the NEC. Do you get a sense for that? Do you have a pride in that, or does that fall by the wayside?
I mean, I definitely understand it. I think our guys understand it, and we're a focal point on campus, and we get that. I think operating the way that we do is, again, there's goals that we're trying to hit, not just on the basketball court, but for the school as well. And meaning that we want to play a national schedule. We want to play some bigger teams, and really get our brand out there. And
Yeah.
I think last year we were close a couple times, obviously with Syracuse, and just playing on national television, I think helps the school's brand as we continue to grow. And obviously we're always fighting for more. And I think anywhere you go, whether you're here at Lemoyne or across town at Syracuse, you're always trying to get more and get better. And I think that's never really going to change in the landscape of college athletics. All your competition is trying to one up you, and you're trying to stay ahead of the pack. And for us here at Lemoyne, it's understanding that, and understanding what is changing, and where college sports is trying to go, and trying to get ahead of it. So for us, I think the one thing is we can never be comfortable. We can never sit back and just say, oh, we got it figured out, because that's when you do that, you get passed by. And I think for us, just trying to stay ahead of that curve, trying to figure out what's coming our way, and being prepared, I think, is the best way to do it. um, and I feel like, yeah, our guys understand that basketball is a focal point. Basketball is the front runner for the conference as well. And we want to make sure that we're representing both our school and the conference in the best way we can.
You've played the Syracuse's, Georgetown, Villanova, Army. You've put yourselves out there. And like you said, being willing to do that, wanting more, wanting to have that national exposure, that national stage. What have these last couple of years in transition to Division One for you, non-conference wise, and creating this schedule? What do you feel like it has done for you to be around these teams, to be in these cities, to be in these atmospheres? What does it do for this program now in year three in the transition?
I think first it tests you, right? It shows you where you're lacking, where you need to get better. And and how to do that. I feel like, when you play teams like UConn and Georgetown, Villanova,
Yeah.
Syracuse, like those teams can expose you quickly. And when you aren't doing something the right way, it shows in those types of games. So just really trying to focus on that with our discipline and the way that we rep things out, and trying to get our guys to be as consistent as possible and understanding what's coming their way. But also, I think there's um, some of the schools that, have grown tremendously in the last, 20 to 30 years. And I think it can show us, a little bit of a path to where we want to go, where we want to be, and how we want to get there. And it's interesting how basketball can change the landscape of a whole, college community when it comes to fandom and student, engagement and things like that. So I think, looking at some of these teams that we play and understanding how they've, been able to get their students on campus to be excited about, the athletics program and really be involved with it, I think is something that, I've taken away with, things that we need to continue to do better. But, those are all things in the growing process that we, always talk about and are trying to work towards. So I think, as we continue to grow as a program and as an athletic department through this change, I think there's a lot of opportunities for us, not only in athletics, but for the campus community as well, and to get that excitement going too, because, I think it's pretty well known Syracuse is a basketball city. So, when there's good basketball being played, people come. And I think our goal and our objective is to, play the best basketball that we can, and hopefully, you know, create some noise around our program, and that way people show up at the door.
Yeah. Moyne Dolphins basketball here. Nate Champion, head coach of the men's basketball squad, going into the 2025-26 season. I will not play the game of blank or don't blank if I'm right about some of these schedule things. You and I will talk about it soon. But let's jump into rapid fire, and you get to ask the first question. What do you have for me?
My first question is, who's going to win the NFL Super Bowl this year?
Whoever's colors are on the logo. But,
Uh,
no, no, I would say, man, I'd like to see. See, I'm caught between this because I want to say Buffalo, but when you say Buffalo, they lose, and I want the Buffalo fans to get one, but I don't really know. Like, if Buffalo doesn't win this year, then I would imagine that they're going to have to make some changes because they have the talent offensively, they have the talent defensively. They've continued to put different pieces together. James Cook needs to figure that out, though, because I covered him at Georgia. I mean, that man, listen, he's had some good moments, but the money that he's asking for, James, you need a couple of years of consistency. But I I would say Buffalo or Baltimore on one side I feel good about. And then on the other side of it, man, Philadelphia, I think Philly and Washington are really the teams I can think of right now that are the most dangerous. I don't think San Fran is as much dangerous. I don't think the NFC West besides San Fran. I don't think Green Bay is dangerous. I think Minnesota chokes in big situations, which kind of stinks for their fan base. I think the NFC South, I mean, there's nobody out there that I think I like Tampa and what Baker's done, but I think the NFC East is where the danger comes in. So if I had to put my feet to the fire right now in this moment, I'd say that I got two on each side that I think are good, but let's say Philly Buffalo.
all
That's
right.
that's what I would say right now. See how they duke it out. My question back to you. So Abby and you have a child now,
Mhm.
7 weeks old, little man. So what have you learned in 7 weeks that you didn't know about Nate Champion before 7 weeks?
Oh man. I think just honestly, there's times where you're running on fumes, and there's times where like your patience can be tested, but I feel like just continuing to show up and continuing to do things the way that you think they're right. And um, I think your body can do a lot of crazy things. I've been in a time, in a few nights where I'm running on an hour to 2 hours of sleep, and you just kind of figure it out. So I think, for me, it's just going through those things and understanding, that you're going to make it through the other side, but also it's crazy just to see like how, big he's gotten in 7 weeks. So obviously, my wife is taking care of him, and she's doing a fantastic job. So just, being really appreciative of what God's given to us and Graham, and continuing to really, buy into that process.
I love it. I appreciate it. Running on fumes. You already know how to do that. See, God prepared you for having for being a
Yeah,
father
something like that.
by being a coach. So,
Yeah.
what's your next one for me?
Oh, oh, shoot. Let's see. What about who do you think will win the World Series this year?
I
I'm a
mean,
White Sox fan, so we're out of it, but
well, let me tell you something about the White Sox. Thank goodness for the Colorado Rockies making the whole rest of the world look so much better.
I
That
know, I
that
know. And
that
thank God they came the year after last. So,
yeah. They man, their winningest manager had over 100 more losses than wins.
yeah, it's
That's
crazy.
insane. So, who's winning the World Series this year? Great question. I I would love to see Mets and Yankees. I want to see a Subway Series, but I think it's going to come out of the National League. I think the Dodgers got a really good shot. I want to say the Mets are the Phillies. I don't think anybody from the Central is going to do it, but feet to the fire today, Dodgers. My hope is that the Mets can make it there. That would be really nice. But I think the Dodgers they got way too much, and we know that between now and July 31st at 6 p.m. Eastern time, they can make some more moves, and maybe they will. So I mean, Shohei Ohtani. Dude just threw his second fastest pitch of his life, fastest pitch in Major League Baseball that he's ever thrown, 101.7 miles per hour, coming back from being out from surgery. And while he couldn't pitch, he had at least 50 home runs and 50 stolen bases last year and won a World Series when he didn't even play that well. So, I mean, Dodgers, but I'd like to see the Mets make it. I would if I had to choose. All right, Nate,
Right.
you and I was thinking about this recently. Typically, I'm getting you food. You don't really buy me food, or do you make me food? So let's talk about this for a second. I like how you nod and smile. So, so here's my thing for you, Nate. We have gotten a lot of Mother's Cupboard. You know, I have my own sandwich there. If you were to make a Nate Champion dish, doesn't have to be a sandwich, could be breakfast or lunch, what would you want Mother's Cupboard to make the champion sandwich or the champion dish? What would it be?
Oh man. See that's hard because I'm not like I'm good with, pancakes and bacon and eggs. Like I don't need anything crazy. I have done the Cuse McMother. It's good. Um, I'd really have to think about that. I'm not sure. Not sure right now.
All right, let me ask you this. What's the best thing that Abby has made in the last year?
Ooh. Well, she's been making these like birria tacos that are like, I mean, super easy, but really good. She makes this chicken meatball curry dish that's pretty good as well. Honestly, really anything she makes is pretty legit. She makes some good sourdough things as well. She's been, messing around with sourdough. She's done, some chocolate chip muffins and focaccia bread and all this stuff. So, I mean, honestly, when she's in the kitchen, I just kind of sit back and let her do her thing and enjoy what comes out. But
Yeah.
I mean, she's awesome. So
Yeah, you're a very spoiled man when it comes to
I
food.
am,
All
I
the food
am.
that you describe, most men are like, no, don't even know how to spell that word. So
Yeah.
you're very blessed. Final question that you got for me, and then I'll ask you my final.
Yeah, what are I guess where do you see, you know, your company going here in the next 5 years?
Man, we've been to a lot of places. We've been very blessed. Been at the college football playoff every round this past year and finished up in the national championship.
Ah, unfortunate. My Irish lost.
I know your Irish lost and the Indiana Pacers lost, man. So
I know.
what is
Halliburton going down really hurt.
yeah, and that was sad. I will say the 2019 trade between the Thunder and the Clippers worked out for the Thunder. The one for Paul George that brought Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, as well as Jalen Williams and a 2025 and 26 first round pick. That worked out for the Thunder. But I would say, man, I was talking about this yesterday because I'm a big picture person and I look at a lot of things that go kind of far beyond what maybe meets the eyes. So I would say in the next 5 years, make my world even smaller, get out to even more places. I think I figured out that at this point, we've either been to, broadcasted at, or interviewed someone from over 30 of the 50 states. I think I looked at 33. We've broadcasted from the Bahamas. We've broadcasted from Mexico, from Italy recently. So, I mean, man, I would just say continuing to push myself, continuing to build new relationships, continuing to make this world smaller in a good way, and, working with good people that value my time. I value people, I value time, I value relationships, and weeding out the people that don't, finding the people that do. So, I mean, really that's what it comes down to for me. I'm not, because if I say to you like, hey, I want to add this or I want to do that, that to me is short-sighted. To me, it's about the bigger picture. There's a lot of things happening in the background, and I'll take a page out of Nicki Minaj where she said, I never mention everything I dabble in. So I would say that there's a lot of things that are going on behind the scenes, a lot of things outside of the broadcasting world that I'm toying with and tinkering with and working on. And so I would just say stay tuned, watch out, and like a Moyne men's basketball schedule, you'll find out when you find out. my question back to you, Nate, is, all right, I don't think I asked you this before. So you and I are going to be in a movie, right? I'm going to ask you to think about this. I'm going to ask you to be my screenwriter here. So we're in a movie. It's a comedy. You cannot be your profession. I cannot be mine. So you have to pick what your profession is, what my profession is. We are going to be doing this in a different country. What country are we going to be in? And you have your lovely wife and child at home, but as a single man, I get to throw a caveat in here. You have to pick an actress to be my love interest in this comedy featuring you and I. So set it up for me. Be my screenwriter. Let's go.
I must think I watch TV quite often.
I'm testing your ability to come up with an idea in the fire, just like you would have to do with 15 seconds left drawing up a play.
All right, we'll go an Italian restaurant in Italy that's struggling. You're the chef. I'm the tenant in which the building, or the owner of the building in which you are running your restaurant out of.
Okay.
And I would say it's a struggling business, but you have a recipe that you're trying to perfect and get out there, and it ends up working out. But let's say your love interest. Oof,
Yeah.
I think Dan Tortora. Let's go with Jennifer Aniston. Does that work?
Jennifer, yeah, that works. That works.
All right.
Alex,
Yeah, there you go.
I'll accept your answer.
All right. Yeah,
So-
I don't know. I mean, it's I'm not too great with the actresses' names and being up with all the current events with acting. So
The last time that Nate watched television was when Friends was still new. That's
Hey, that was a good show back in the day.
yeah, it
Good
was a
show.
very good show back in the day. So with that being said, Nate Champion here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora in this edition of the Dolphin Dive. Nate, as always, I thank you for all the work that you put in. I
Yeah.
know that, like we've talked about in the last 5 years and some change, there's been challenges and a lot of things going on at Moyne outside of the typical things for a coach. You've navigated them well. And like I said, more than anything else, you have brought in with your staff really good character guys, hardworking guys. They're talented in basketball. That's a given to me. I'm more speaking on the fact that they're good human beings and they're people that I value as friends outside of the game. So, beyond everything else, you said it's about building up good young men, and you're doing that. So, I want to say thank you on behalf of everybody here in this community and beyond for being a coach that tries to stay true and stays true to actually helping kids and seeing them excel and making sure that character is an important thing and building those relationships that can last a lifetime. So beyond everything else, thank you for the work that you're doing.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you, Dan. I appreciate being on here.
All right, we'll talk with you soon.
All right, have a good one.
You too. That coming from Nate Champion here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. For those of you that are here waiting for the Bobcat buzz, there are a trio of signature segments coming up with Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We will take a step aside here inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios, and when we come back, you'll have the opportunity to get to know your Bobcats on the heels of two signing their national letters of intent, Mr. DeCoursey Corley, as well as Camden Atkinson coming in to Bryant and Stratton College of Syracuse. So those exclusive multimedia marketing partnerships here with Wake Up Call are on full display, seeing things here that you won't find anywhere else with Moyne that we just had with Nate Champion, and coming up, a trio of Bobcat Buzz pieces with Bryant and Stratton College of Syracuse. Stay with us. Here's a message from Renee from Bryan's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York. Open Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and Sundays for brunch.
It's a lot like the way that my mom and dad ran their restaurant. We have put in place a lot of people that are family to us, very similar to how my dad hired people that were family to him. And then the tradition I'm carrying on is a lot of the items that are on our menu are my dad's. And he taught our chefs how to recreate his dishes. So I think that Tommy McInerney, who our executive chef is, to him it is an art. And I think that when he does create a dish, it's not just about making the food taste delicious, which is definitely our priority, but it's an art to him, and it's almost like his canvas on a plate where he just wants the colors to look great, and people love it because he takes pride in that. And Brian and I appreciate that. We want it to obviously look good and taste good. I will tell you, when we opened up, it was 6 weeks before COVID. And what was amazing was the community, our friends and family stepped up, and everybody did takeout. Everybody supported us. Our hearts were just so filled. So to Brian and I, obviously our friends come all the time, and we just have repeat customers in Jamesville, and I think people going to our previous restaurant in Green Lakes are making the trip to come to Bryan's Landing to support us. And I mean, I think we have great food and a great atmosphere. So it's very, very important to us.
Head to Bryan's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York, where memories have become recipes that are now meals to share with you. Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and on Sundays for brunch. And be sure to come out for live music Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Life gets busy, and sometimes that means us running around. So Canine Camp Dog Daycare offers you an opportunity to give your dog a place to stay while you take care of what you need to throughout the day. Canine Camp Dog Daycare is located on 228 Old Bridge Street in East Syracuse, New York. You can see it from the highway, and it's just off of Erie Boulevard across from BJ's Wholesale Club. Call 315-437-7110. That's 315-437-7110 to schedule an appointment to bring your dog in and tour the facility. Appointments are Monday through Thursday after 6:30, where you and your dog can see everything that Canine Camp Dog Daycare has to offer, including a self-serve dog wash and a retail store filled with all of your dog's wants and needs, including food, treats, harnesses, leashes, and more, making Canine Camp Dog Daycare your one-stop shop for your furry-loving friend. Right, Lily? Avicoli's restaurant, located on 7839 Oswego Road in Liverpool, New York, has been serving our community for decades. Your place to go for home cooking on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road is just minutes from Liverpool High School. And every single month, Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is on site, on location, with Liverpool sports, student athletes, coaches, and administration telling their stories throughout the year. We look forward to seeing you on site at Avicoli's for their casual pizza side, their fine dining, as well as their bar. And of course, you can order online at myavicolis.com. That's myavicollis.com. For takeout, delivery, and catering, call 315-622-5100. That's 315-622-5100. Come on in to the neighborhood spot Avicoli's, open 7 days a week in Liverpool, New York. K9 Campground Dog Boarding is your home away from home for your furry-loving friends. Open 7 days a week with drop-off and pickup times in the morning and later on in the day and early evening. K9 Campground Dog Boarding is the spot to trust with your dog for short and long-term stays. Call 315-299-4013 for more information. That's 315-299-4013, and go to k9campground.com as well. That's KAMP ground.com, where you will find all of the information on their different cabins, which include the classic cabin, executive cabin, grand cabin, and luxury cabin. K9 Campground Dog Boarding, where your dog will have indoor and outdoor areas as well as their own private cabin for any size, any breed, as well as dogs with different needs. Dog parents and dogs alike choose K9 Campground Dog Boarding. Isn't that right, Lily? Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes. And welcome here to a very special edition of the Bobcat Buzz here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Inside of, well, I should say on campus, that we are here with Bryant and Stratton College of Syracuse, and we are on the heels of DeCoursey Corley signing his national letter of intent to come here to Bryant and Stratton College of Syracuse. You know that last season, Bryant and Stratton Syracuse was the #1 seed in the nation at the tournament here for the USCAA in men's basketball Division I. And now this gentleman is looking to not only bring them back, but to bring them farther. DeCoursey, how are you? Good to see you.
How are you?
Good, man. So bring me into it. I mean, we just signed the letter.
Yes.
What's going through you right now?
I'm really excited. I'm really looking forward to the season and getting back to where they were last year, and just adding a new depth to the team. That's it.
What do you bring, in your opinion, when you look at your game? What is it about you that you feel like is going to be able to gel with this team?
Hard worker. Always, and will always have my teammates' backs no matter what. And then just scoring, passing, defending, definitely defending. taking pride on defense for sure.
You spoke on taking pride on defense. There's guys in the NBA that don't even do that. So why is defense so important to you?
You gotta stop the team from scoring. You wanna outscore them, and you wanna keep them from scoring. So that's the best way to do it, defending.
Is there a player historically that you looked up to growing up that you still do?
I would say right now the player I look up to is Jalen Brunson.
Okay.
I really respect his game, his craft, how he's able to use pick and roll, and like he's a smaller guy in the NBA, and he's still able to get his shot off against taller defenders, faster defenders. I would say him. I really look up to him.
Are you a Knicks fan?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
From forever?
Yeah.
Because you're from Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Okay. So bring me into from being a kid to now. I know the Knicks have had some trouble,
Yes.
but recently we've seen them in the postseason. So
Yes.
how do you feel about the Knicks right now?
Seeing the Knicks' success recently has been amazing. Even we made it to the conference finals, and like the city was turned. So imagine if we make the finals soon, the city would just be even more better.
So being a Knicks fan, have you been to the Garden?
Yeah, I have.
How would you describe? Now, I've also been to Madison Square Garden. They say it's the Mecca.
Yeah.
They say it's the greatest arena in the world.
Yes, I agree.
What do you like the most about MSG?
Just the way like the lights. It's like you watching a play, but like you just sitting down in this basketball, and like the way the lights around the arena is just amazing.
Makes it look like a movie, kind
Yeah.
of. So you grow up in Brooklyn. You and I were talking off the air. My grandmother's from Atlantic Avenue, which I know goes on forever, but she grew up in a very different Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm.
What can you say about Brooklyn and what it's like to be home?
Brooklyn it's a beautiful town. I would say that. Like, you got different parts. You got downtown Brooklyn. You got Coney Island, where you could go to the amusement park, or you could go Bed-Stuy to get you some nice food. It's just Brooklyn is, I think, is the best borough.
Best borough.
Yeah.
What do you think is the worst borough? So let me see. Well, let me see if I can do it. Staten Island, Brooklyn, Bronx, Queens. I always forget. And then why is Manhattan?
Yeah, man.
Okay, there it is. I don't know why I always think that one doesn't count, but yeah.
I'll probably stay Staten Island because I don't be over there.
Everybody
that much.
says that.
Yeah, I don't be over there that much.
So, Brooklyn for you, the best borough. Why?
You got the best sweepers, the food, and it's definitely activities to do. A lot of activities to do in Brooklyn.
Do you have a favorite spot to eat?
I would have to say Bed-Stuy fish fry is probably one of my top spots.
Fish fry?
Yeah.
Okay, well,
Some soul food.
did Coach Clay tell you that we do really good fish here in Syracuse, New York? You did not tell him.
No, I wasn't told that yet.
Okay, he didn't bring you around yet?
A little. No, he showed me around the city.
Showed you a little bit. Okay, what did he show you in Syracuse?
He showed me Dino BBQ. I seen that.
Okay.
I definitely would like to try that. And just parts of the city that I didn't see yet. Mostly.
So for Brooklyn to Syracuse, obviously there's some similarities in a city life. There's some similarities in different parts of New York, but obviously vastly different as well. What attracted you when you were going around Syracuse? What was it about the city itself that you liked?
Just the building. The buildings were. I see like it's like different. Like the way the structure, and there's hills too. Like everything was just like I just like the city. And then at night, that's when yesterday I was on the rooftop, and at night the city just like it was like glowing. So like, that was just amazing to me.
And this is a part of New York where there's like nature.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to see a lot of stuff in the fall. I call it fruity pebbles, but when you drive on the highway, you get to see like all the colors. There's just something different. People ask, because when you say you're from New York, everybody thinks you're from like Long Island.
Mm-hmm.
And so when they come here, they see all the nature and that part of it. Are you a guy that can appreciate that, going out and just being in nature, being by the water?
No, yeah, I could definitely just hang out and just smell the fresh air. I have no problem with that. Walking around, seeing the scenery.
Yeah, it's probably different for you to see grass. It's like more than just like a little
Not yet.
cube.
Not yet.
So you come up here. Obviously, Bryant and Stratton, Syracuse has built a connection to the boroughs, built a connection to the New York City area. What was it about the message of your head coach Clay Gagen-Sherman that spoke to you?
Just telling me he wants to, like, we want to win. To be honest, that's what I really like. I just want to win. None more, none less. Just hard working. That's it.
Was there something about the history of Bryant and Stratton, especially recently, that attracted you as well? Because you said you just want to win. Did it mean something to you to see the fact that they have been at the national tournament, they've been the #1 seed here most recently? Did that hold any weight for you?
Oh yes, that definitely did partake into my decision and made it comfortable for me to choose this school.
So you're a little kid, you love basketball. Now you're sitting here today as a young man signing a national letter. What was that kind of emotion for you in that moment? Do you feel it yet? Are you going to feel it later on, you think? Like, are you still kind of in the moment of shock being a little kid that wanted to do this to someone that's actually doing this?
Yeah, I'm just living in the moment right now. I'm definitely blessed to even be sitting here to sign a letter of intent. That's definitely, it didn't hit me yet, but it's definitely the emotion is definitely gonna come.
So we're going to play some rapid fire. I told you about it before. It gives us an opportunity to talk about literally anything. You can put me on the hot seat. I put you on the hot seat. Can be basketball, can be anything in the world. You get to ask me the first question.
Favorite football team?
I'm so mad at them right now. The Jacksonville Jaguars. But yeah.
Travis Hunter.
Yeah. I mean, I'm happy that Travis Hunter's there. I mean, he's probably the best dancing Jaguar that they've ever had since they came out in '95. But yeah, they've made some moves. They let Cisco go to the Jets, which is good for people in the New York City area.
They still got Trevor.
They still got Trevor Lawrence, yep. And then Travis Etienne Jr., they didn't extend him, so I don't really know what the plan is for that. But I've been a Jags fan since the beginning of the beginning. Yeah. So I'm gonna put you on the spot here. You take over my show. It's Wake Up Call with DeCoursey Corley. Who are your 3 guests if you did the show tomorrow morning?
I would say Carmelo Anthony.
Okay.
Another guess.
You're gonna make a lot of Syracuse people happy right now.
That's the first guess.
Okay.
2 more guess.
Yep.
I mean, I might as well just invite Camden as well. And then my last guess.
Who was your second one? Cayenne.
Anthony.
Okay. All right.
And then my last guess, I would pick Kevin Durant.
Okay. So why the Anthonys and why Kevin Durant?
First, they're like family to me, and then like they got knowledge. They have great knowledge. KD is one of my favorite players, too. So I would definitely like to ask some questions about basketball and stuff.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. What's your next question for me?
Favorite restaurant in Cuse?
I work with a bunch of them. They partner with the show, so they're going to get me in trouble here.
My fault.
No, you're good. I will say, I'm going to pick something different.
So top 5.
I can't do that. That's going to give me a more choke. So, no, I will say this. I'll say that, so I'm Italian and Hispanic, and there's a really good place. It's pricey, but it's good. And I would say Exo Taco has some really, really good tacos. It's just expensive. And during a snowstorm a couple years ago, I jokingly said I'm about to spend $41 on 5 tacos, and it cost me like $37. So it was like right there. Yeah. They're really, really, really good. They're just not cheap, but they're good. So I'll say Exo Taco. I'll give them some credit here. My question back to you, if we made a meal, and it was the DeCoursey Corley dish, Triple D, what is on that plate?
We go with mac and cheese.
Okay.
I'll get some wings.
All right.
And some French fries. Simple.
Okay. All right. Snack food. What's on the wings? What sauce?
Honey barbecue.
That is the correct answer. I will take that. All right, DeCoursey, you got a final question. What is it?
Final question.
Yes, sir.
What's your expectations of the team next year?
Man, the Bobcats men's basketball team in 2025-26. Well, after being, and I told you this a little bit, but after being on the road with you guys, being on the sideline, being there for shoot around, being there for the games, being on the bus for team meals and whatnot, I mean, I was treated as part of the team, and I know Clay would say that's because you are, and I miss it. Honestly, probably want to, like, you cover, like, I've covered sports for 21 years, almost 22 years, and you see teams win, you see teams lose. When you see a team lose, you feel it, and you feel bad, but this was different because I was on the bus, and I told him this a couple days ago. I said we shouldn't have lost. You know what I mean? And just being on the bus with the team and feeling that collective emotion. This might sound weird to people, but even in a loss, it made you feel like you were part of something. It was like my heart was in his chest, and in Nolan's heart was in my chest, in X, and just being on the bus, just knowing how much love you have, and afterward, we all came together, and when all the guys, the student athletes came in, we just kind of, the four of us stood outside and just talked to each other. And so my expectations for this year is that when I cry, it's happy tears. It's to, I think we need to lift Nolan up on a chair. We need to bring Nolan up because he's done so much work in the background. I always shout out Nolan. You'll get to know Nolan very well. Yeah, shout out to Nolan. I think Clay, I told him that's the last time I want to see him cry in a bad way. And, Coach X, I can't get enough of his back and forth with the guys. I think, as you get to know this team and you get to know the guys on the team and the coaches on this team, there's just a different type of feel, and there's a genuine type of love. So my expectation is to go back to the national tournament and to win the national tournament. And I definitely, listen, I want to stay there for a long time. I told him my plan was to be there through, and that is my plan this time around as well. And I genuinely love the team. I can't do anything I don't believe in. So my expectation is always that, this team wins. But more than anything else, it's that you become a better young man tomorrow than you are today. It's that you learn in a classroom something that you could take with you forever. And it's that connection that you had, like you said, you look out for your teammates and you're always going to be there for them. It's that bond in those moments of adversity, that this team, that you and the guys around you can lift each other up and can do things that you've never done before. So I know it's a long answer, but I care about the team a lot. There's a lot of emotion with that.
It's a great answer.
Yeah. My final question to you. If there was a movie made about the life of head coach Clay Gagen-Sherman, what actor would you want to play Clay?
I don't know my actors off the top of my head.
Yeah. Who would you want to play him?
Which actor plays on Thor?
Thor?
Yeah.
Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So why'd you pick Hemsworth?
Because they got the same hair.
They have the same hair.
Yeah. I'll take him.
Good answer. Good answer. Because they got the same hair. Oh man, I hope Kate is listening. I hope she gets to watch and listen. So with that being said, for DeCoursey Corley here, coming from the BK to SYR here with the Bryant and Stratton Syracuse Bobcats for the 2025-26 season. This has been an exclusive on the Bobcat Buzz on Wake Up Call in our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with Bryant and Stratton College of Syracuse. DeCoursey, it's my pleasure.
Thank you.
And I look forward to not only continuing to talk with you, but to telling the story of you and the guys.
Yes.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate you.
Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315 432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating at 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and always online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, order anywhere, anytime at maandpaspopcorn.com. Stop in to get a tin at Ma and Pa's on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York to get your half-price refills for the rest of your life. Come to Ma and Pa's for your holiday gift giving for family, friends, employees, and clients. And remember, for fundraising and events, to call 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have at any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
Welcome here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and we are on campus at Bryant and Stratton College of Syracuse, right here in my hometown of Syracuse, New York. Camden Atkinson is here with me. He just signed his national letter of intent. It is sitting right in front of me, so it's real now.
Yeah.
Camden, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Very good. So in this exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with Bryant and Stratton College of Syracuse, of course here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, it is always my honor and my privilege to cover all of the teams here and to tell the story of the Bobcats. And Camden just signed his national letter of intent. Has it hit you yet?
Yeah, I definitely was emotional at first, like when I first committed. Like, I mean, ever since I was young, like 4 or 5, this is always what I wanted to do. It's been my dream, so just finally have the work like pay off and have it come true. It's definitely a blessing.
So you said when you were 4 or 5, this dream started. Why the love for basketball? How did it happen?
Honestly, definitely all started. I just remember being in like my grandparents' room and watching Michael Jordan. That's how it started.
Being in your grandparents' room and watching Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
So, Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Kobe Bryant. Who's the best?
MJ.
That is the correct answer.
Yeah.
There's only one answer to that. So why do you pick Michael Jordan? You're right, but why did you pick Michael?
For me, I mean, I feel like it's more than like statistics. Like LeBron, obviously he's got him on stats, but and maybe a couple other things. But I just feel like when it comes down to like basketball, nobody can do it better than him.
Yeah. Knowles, 6 finals, 6 championships for Michael Jordan? You got Kobe. Okay, you're going to pick Kobe. I'm going to let him shout it out. Why? Nolan Cass, the man behind the music here. Why Kobe?
Because if MJ is your GOAT, then Kobe is a prototype of
Okay.
Statistically, LeBron, like, eventually we're gonna accept it. But I still think those are my top three.
No,
And
6.
you can interchange them as much as you like.
Yeah. 6 championships for Michael, 11 for Kobe. If you add them together, it's Bill Russell. 11 championships, and nobody talks about him. Isn't that crazy? How much do you know about Bill Russell?
I mean, I know that he played in the 60s or whatever, but
Got to ask your grandparents about Bill Russell.
probably.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So your grandparents came out for this. What does that mean to you? That they're right off camera here, but they wanted to be here to watch you realize your dream that you had from when you were 4 or 5 years old.
Definitely means a lot. Like, they've been with me every step of the way, and couldn't be more grateful. Like, I might not always show it all the time, but they're definitely one of the biggest reasons that I'm still here and I was able to sign this. So
You said your grandparents are one of the biggest reasons why you're still here. Why?
well, had a lot of ups and downs, but I don't know. They just made sure I always was the best person I could be, or they had a vision. Like, they definitely had a vision for me. They saw what I'm capable of doing, and they just did what they could for me to make sure I got here, basically.
So their belief in you and them being behind you, were there moments where you struggled to believe in yourself and they were that thing that you could lean on?
Yeah, definitely. Like, I feel like everybody goes through bad times in their life, and
Yep.
you gotta have somebody there that can comfort you and help you through things, and yeah, they were definitely a big part of that.
Best lesson you've ever learned from them?
I don't know if I have one specific, but
Don't get in trouble is what
Yeah.
Grandpa said.
yeah.
So for you, when you're out there on the court, do you feel like they're always with you? Do you feel like you have that family effect, that it's not just you on the floor?
I mean, honestly, no, but
You don't? Okay.
I
Yeah.
just when I'm on, I don't know, when I'm out on the court, I just kind of feel like I don't know. I don't really think. I just hope, basically.
But you said something that I always carried with me because I've loved basketball my whole life. You said when you play, you don't think. So it's not that you don't appreciate it. It's not that they're not there in the stands or there in spirit, but you shut your brain off.
Yeah, I kind of just block out the noise and let what happens happen.
Did you have to learn how to do that? Did you have to learn, like, whether it was cheers or boos, how to just keep everything away, or were you always like that?
For sure. Like, I remember I started on varsity as a sophomore because we had a lot of seniors the year before, and I was definitely, not too caught up with the crowd, but it definitely, I was looking over there, seeing who was in the crowd, but, really, after that, it just, my focus is just win, just play basketball. I was there for me. I was there for my team, not everybody else.
So you say being there for you, being there for your team. Why did you choose Bryant and Stratton, Syracuse? What is it about wanting to be there with these guys?
Obviously, a big part is the winning culture that has been building up and up the past, 4 or 5 years. And then another thing with Coach Sherman, he said that, the guys like to work and I like to work, so it kind of goes right together.
For you, how much did you know about, when you were going through your process, did you feel like, hey, I want to stay in New York, I want to keep this going here? Were you more like, I want to leave it first? How did you step into recruiting?
At first I was kind of exploring everything, seeing, kind of keeping my options open. Obviously the weather's not too friendly up here most of the time, but I don't know, when it came down to it, it just kind of came down to what feels right for me, and I don't know, when I came here, it just felt right.
You said you like the winning culture, but what is it about Clay Gagen-Sherman and the staff that felt right beyond the winning culture?
Definitely the fact that I could just tell he's a great person, and he believes in me. He's not just saying stuff to get me to come here. He's saying stuff because he genuinely sees something in me and sees what I could be. of it I could become.
When you look at your game, who do you liken it to?
Like, who
Who do you kind of look up to, and maybe when you were growing up as a little kid, that because everybody tries to mirror somebody on the court, you try to do something that you saw when you're growing up. Is there anybody that sticks out to you?
I mean, honestly, I'll say I got like a lot of different guys, but like who I watch the most right now is definitely Brunson, and then I've been trying to like take bits and pieces from Shea, even though I'm a small guard. Trying to learn a lot from him because I mean, why not? Who wouldn't want to?
Yeah. Do you know that historically the Oklahoma City Thunder, when they were the Seattle Supersonics and they left Seattle, they came to Oklahoma City as the worst team in the NBA, 30 of 30. And in 2019, they traded Paul George to the Clippers and got Shea Gilgeous-Alexander and Jalen Williams in that trade, plus a first-round pick this year and a first-round pick for 2026. Did you know that?
Didn't know all the details. Probably read about it, but yeah.
I think it was a good trade.
Yeah, it was definitely a good trade.
So you said SGA, and you said Jalen Brunson.
Yeah.
And you said, why not SGA? Obviously, just won a title. What do you like about Jalen Brunson?
He's very very direct with what he tries to do. Like his moves, it's not like he knows. Nobody knows what they're gonna do like when they're doing it, but it's just like you could just tell. Like especially he has a great in and out. Like his in and out, they're trying to be better at that. Stuff like that. The way he's just super small and can really score at will inside whenever he wants, and then he can also knock down a step back. It's just that's who I aspire to be, something like that.
We talk about guys that are a little bit smaller and finding their way and being intricate in how they do what they do. Me being 5'8" and playing basketball growing up, you have to find your ways. I love shooting the outside shot, but I wanted to be able to go inside and be effective. How have you learned to be effective regardless of height? Because I don't think it's ever fair to assess a player based on height.
Yeah, I don't fear anybody. Like, I'm fearless, and I'm tough. Like, it doesn't matter who you are, who you play for. It doesn't really matter to me. Like, I'm gonna go at you.
And that fearlessness and that courage that you have, where does that come from?
I mean, I can't say anybody really gave it to me. Like, kind of something that's built up over the years. Because I definitely wasn't like that at first. Like, used to play scared, nervous. It comes through some experience, the work, the reps, the hours and hours that I put into it.
You talk about the hours and the hours. Some guys don't like to watch film. Some guys don't like to practice. Some guys don't like to run. Some guys don't like to lift. Why are you willing to go the extra mile, not just for yourself, but for your teammates?
I mean, definitely because, for one, like I said, this is always something that I've wanted to do. And it's just for me, it's the wanting to fulfill that dream and just, even when I have days that you don't want to go to work, you don't want to put in the work, it's not easy. If it was easy, everybody would be here, everybody would do it, but yeah, that's what I got for that.
So you have that work ethic, you have that faith in your game and that fearlessness in your game as well. When you look at the sport of basketball, what has it done for your life?
I mean, it's really life-changing. If I don't know where I'd be at if I didn't have basketball, but I'm glad I do. And even when I was at my lowest, I know I always had basketball. I'm having a bad day, I can just go play basketball. My problems are solved, really.
So with that being said, we're going to jump into some rapid fire here on the day that you signed your letter of intent to officially be a Bobcat, and congratulations on that again.
Thank you.
You get to ask me the first question. What do you have for me?
I'd say, who's your biggest inspiration, to get where you are right now?
My biggest inspiration. So I don't look to anybody else to be the prototype or to be well, they did it, so then I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
I kind of go off of what you're saying, very much so, that I'm willing to be the precedent. I'm willing to be the one that does it differently. And I can honestly tell you, because people say, oh, did you listen to this show or what this guy's saying or how this person's doing it? And I said, no. They said, why? I said, because I'm working. So I think if you're going after your craft, you don't have time to really look at what other people are doing. You just focus on what you're trying to do, what you're trying to accomplish. I would rather set the trend than copy the trend a couple of years later. So, I mean, I would say my inspiration is God. My inspiration is just, really looking internally and talking with Him. And if I had to pick a human being, it would be my G-Mama, my mom's mom, who lived to be almost 101, passed away, I think it's 8 years ago now, which is insane because it feels like it was yesterday. But yeah, I'd probably say her because she always taught me to be a good person, keep my nose clean, trust in God, and don't let anybody shake me. So I'd say her. My question back to you, Camden. If you could live in a fantasy world of a movie or a TV show, what world would you jump into, live in for the rest of your life, and why?
That's pretty easy. I'm going probably Space Jam.
Space Jam?
Yeah.
All right.
My
Grandpa
favorite.
likes that answer.
That's my favorite movie. Yeah, I fell in love with
Yeah,
that
the
movie.
first one?
Yeah.
Okay.
The second one was terrible.
Yeah, I did not see the second one. So the first one, okay. You live in Space Jam, why?
I mean, that's just me. Like, I'm just like a goofy guy sometimes. Like,
Okay. So I interviewed Muggsy Bogues, and I asked him about Charles Barkley because they were in that movie together.
yeah.
And I'll never forget that he just said a very simple sentence, but he said Charles is crazy. And I think people that watch Charles Barkley, he has a very unique. He will say whatever he wants to say.
Yeah.
And apparently, way back when, Muggsy thought he was, himself back then. He's definitely himself now. And I'm gonna miss him. They need to find a way to get him to do post game stuff still. What's your second question for me?
What's your favorite NBA player
Right now,
ever?
Damon Stoudemire, Mighty Mouse. And I got to interview him 29 years after I became a fan of him. Of all teams, 360, whatever it is now, 4 Division I men's basketball schools, he ended up being the head coach at Georgia Tech. I cover the ACC. And so right around my birthday 2 years ago, I got to interview Damon, shake his hand, give him a hug, tell him that I probably have the most cards of his ever. I think I have 220. But yeah, it was insane. And I will tell people this, if you don't believe that you can get to where you want to be in your life, almost 3 decades later, to shake the hand of my favorite player, and not because I'm at some autographing event, not because I bumped into him at the store, but because I chased my dreams and he chased his, and we crossed each other doing it. So that was pretty insane. So I would say Damon all time. Right now, man, I don't know if I have one right now. I like Jason Tatum, but I also got to talk with him. But I would say, yeah, I mean, I like Jason. I'm really upset that he got injured.
Yeah, this.
But I think I like Halliburton too. So I mean, it's kind of tough now for me. I've been a KD fan for a while. I don't know if I could pick one like right now that's just.
Yeah.
But Tatum, I like Tatum. My question back to you, Camden. If you and I could have dinner right now with 3 current NBA players, who would we sit with tonight?
3 current, well, definitely Brunson.
Okay.
That one.
Okay.
Other 2, I don't know. That's tough. I don't know. Definitely somebody like a role player, like TJ McConnell, something like that.
Okay.
Somebody similar to me.
Yeah.
And then I don't know,
Bobo.
He's super huge.
Okay. So him because he's huge, TJ because you can liken your game to him, and Jalen Brunson because you just like Jalen.
Yeah.
Okay. What's your final question for me?
My final question is probably like the same as DeCoursey. Like, what do you think we're gonna do? Like, what do you see for us next year?
I see sky's the limit. It's hard to get to the top of the mountain. It's hard to stay up there. And I think that what I've seen, well, not what I think, I know, Clay and I have talked about this for years now. When he came in, there was talent, but there wasn't necessarily cohesion. There were guys that could do things, but they weren't necessarily doing them together. And last year, I saw us get closer to that. And I just want to keep taking more and more steps to that. Because listen, losses happen, things are going to happen. And I watch a team, and I watch intricate things that have nothing to do with scoring points. And it's like when a guy's on the ground, do his teammates, not one guy, but do you all rush over and put your hand out and pick him up together? Yeah. When somebody makes a mistake, do you shake your head and swear, or do you go over and put your hand on his back and say, hey man, we all make mistakes? So honestly, this team has always been talented, but this team has adjusted its culture and its character, and I want to keep seeing that move in that direction of this positive culture, positive character. Like, you can be a number one seed, or you can act like a number one seed. And whether you're the number one seed or not, when I say when you act like it, how do you dress? How do you walk together? How do you talk with each other? How do you handle yourselves? Is there a professionalism that is when everybody's watching, and a professionalism when nobody's watching? Because if I know anything from covering high school, college, and pro, there is a championship way that people carry themselves that goes far beyond wins and losses. It's in week 3, it's in game 5, it is all the it's in the classroom, it's out in the street of Syracuse, it's everywhere. And if you have a championship mentality and you have a championship nature, then you can win a championship every single day. And if you learn how to win the day, then you will win when it comes down to somebody else standing on the other side of you. So what do I think? I think we can do it. But y'all are going to have to back me up on that. I want you to make me right.
Yeah, I hope so too.
My last question for you, Camden. What is the single favorite moment of your life so far? You're going to have plenty more, but what is your favorite so far?
Actually, yes, definitely beating our rival for the first time in like 8 years at home. It was a packed crowd. One of our last games of the season, I think, this past year. And I had a great game. We had a great game, and we won. So that's all that matters.
Share the rival for the people that don't know.
Fulton. It's a Swiggle versus Fulton rivalry. It hasn't been much of a rivalry the past 8 years because we haven't beat them, but we split this year. We almost had them at away too. We were down 20 something, got it within like 5 or something like that, but finally beat them, and yeah, that meant a lot to me.
So beating your rival.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I like it. But that being said, Camden Atkinson, on the day that he signs his letter of intent here to officially be a Bobcat with Bryant and Stratton College of Syracuse men's basketball. Of course, you know right here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, the Bobcat Buzz shows you our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with Bryant and Stratton College of Syracuse with these student athletes, coaches, administration, and alumni as well. I cannot thank you all enough for watching, and make sure you come out and watch and support at home and on the road your Bobcats. Thanks, Camden.
Yep.
Appreciate you.
Yep.
In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville Bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you. Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
All right, you need to come out here and get yourself the Brooklyn Pickle. I was talking about this with one of my buddies. I was like, yo, there's no better sandwich in the state of New York than the Brooklyn Pickle. And now that I found out that they're going down to North Carolina, we are taking over your taste buds everywhere you are, wherever you're going to be. You need to get yourself out to the Brooklyn Pickle. Pinehurst, you just realized that you found yourself the best sandwich shop that you're ever going to have. This is a glorious moment. It's a blessing to your community. You're welcome. Brooklyn in the house, baby. Go over to the Brooklyn Pickle. You already know what it is.
You heard the man. Head to Brooklyn Pickle Pinehurst on 1788 Old Morgantown Road in Southern Pines, North Carolina.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant.
GG Cards and Breaks. Like, comment, subscribe.
GG Cards and Breaks coming to you on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York. Right off of Teal Ave is your one-stop sports card and trading card shop. Make sure you make your way out to GG Cards and Breaks Tuesday through Saturday from 10 to 6 and on Sundays from 10 to 5 with hockey, soccer, baseball, basketball, football, and more, including Disney Lorcana, Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh!, and Pokemon while supplies last. You will find singles, packs, as well as graded cards, potential one-of-ones, RPAs, Rookie Patch Auto, and of course you'll find packs and boxes to open and see what you'll discover inside of there. Maybe you'll get a one-of-one, maybe you'll get an auto, maybe your favorite player will be coming home with you today or your favorite character. You never know what you're going to find at GG Cards and Breaks. It's like a scavenger hunt every single time you go in. Big kid spirit, no matter what your age. GG Cards and Breaks helps to bring in the nostalgia and make memories with those that we love. We'll see you over at GG Cards and Breaks on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York. Tuesday through Saturday from 10 to 6 and Sundays from 10 to 5. We're back here on campus at Bryant and Stratton College of Syracuse, and of course in our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora with Bryant and Stratton College of Syracuse. This is another edition of the Bobcat Buzz. You know this man very well. He is commonly out in the public confused with Chris Hemsworth, which is crazy. Clay Gagen-Sherman. How you doing, Clay?
Good morning.
The head coach of the Bryant and Stratton College of Syracuse men's basketball team. And we are on the heels of two new faces who have officially signed on as Bobcats. So your thoughts on DeCoursey as well as Camden coming onto the team?
Yeah, we're super excited to have both the guys. DeCoursey, obviously a couple years of college basketball experience. He's a guy that he does a little bit of everything. We actually watched him play last night in the summer league, and both Coach Nolan and I got very excited seeing him play in person for the first time. Again, he had great numbers, very efficient player, great offensive rebounder, good defender, good athleticism, can shoot the ball. Anticipating him coming in and being a 3-and-D guy for us, and just adding his experience and also just his character to our locker room. In Camden, coming straight out of high school, out of local high school, Oswego. He's just a straight-up competitor. A smaller guard, had a great high school career. He's just a good all-around player. He's gritty, he defends, he plays with pride, and he's someone that coming in, he's going to get a lot better playing within our program, and we're going to develop him for years to come. And this year he's gonna fight to earn his spot.
Yeah, and you spoke about, we hear this all the time, 3-and-D. Why is that so important to today's game?
First of all, defense obviously wins championships. Defense is something that, is going to be there every night if you do it well. It travels on the road. And then having guys that can stretch the floor, knock down shots is something that our team needs. We have a ton of athleticism. We're very good in transition. But two of our best shooters graduated. Two main guys that aren't coming back. That was part of their game that we're definitely going to need. Obviously, we still have a couple guys that can knock down shots, but again, just looking at our roster, we need some shooting, and obviously someone that can space the floor and then match up is really critical and valuable to a team.
You mentioned the two guys that finished up their eligibility. Just what you can say to honor them once again and share with everybody, maybe individually, if you have any notes on the two that we obviously appreciate, and maybe the ripple effects that you think they'll have on the team.
Yeah, Darren and Shamari were both with me in my first 3 years with the men's program. They were my backcourt for a majority of that. And, we went to war together, over 50 total wins in their 3 years. So they are really, their legacy is the foundation of winning that we have established within the program. And not just winning, but being ranked number 1 in the country, making the national tournament every single year. Like, they set that standard. And, that's something they'll be proud of forever. They can always look back on. And they help build the culture and move it in the right direction. And, Darren, right now, actually both the guys are trying to play overseas. And that's a big goal of our program, is being one of the best small college basketball programs in the country by winning games, competing for championships, graduating guys, and helping them pursue what they want to do after they leave Bryant and Stratton. And with the talent we bring, most guys want to play professionally, so being able to help them take that next step and get opportunities overseas is a goal of our program. And right now, those are the first two guys that have came through that have gotten to the finish line of their career that are looking to make that leap. So I'm really excited what's next for both of them.
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, to come through Bryant and Stratton College of Syracuse, and then to have that bridge to play professionally overseas. And once that bridge is built, once it happens with one player, then you hope that will continue to show people going back and forth on that bridge, which is an amazing thing. And, I mean, Shamari and Darren, if any two guys have earned the right for an opportunity, it's two guys that you have been able to lean on and really have a lot of fun with. And it's weird. I know Darren, I got to know from, like, the beginning of the beginning. So for me, it's strange because you just kind of get used to certain faces. Yeah. And thinking like they're just going to be here forever. But my hopes to both of you gentlemen, if you're watching and listening, that you have the opportunity to be overseas, you excel, and that people see in you what coach has seen in you, what the staff and the school has seen in you. And, I've been blessed to be on the sideline for. So hoping the best for them always. And if there's going to be some torchbearers for Bryant and Stratton College of Syracuse, I'm happy for Shamari and Darren, and they've earned the right to be.
I love it. I mean, yeah, those guys, it's going to be weird with them not being here next year. Again, they've been here 3 years, ever since the beginning of the program. Those are two guys we trusted. We knew what they brought to the table. But once again, they set the standard. They raised the bar, and now for the guys coming in, big shoes to fill. But we're excited at the same time to bring in guys that are excited to, kind of chase that opportunity that is in front of them. So, just seeing the number 5 jersey on the table right now, that was Shamari's for 3 years. So the next number 4, the next number 5, we have big expectations for, because the guys that came before them were next level and great leaders, and once again, just pivotal parts of our program.
Do you look to things like that, like you said, the next number 4, the next number 5, before we got started here? I heard you mentioning the numbers as well to the guys. Is that something that you want to utilize as motivation with this team to reflect on, looking at some of the people that have come through here and say, hey, if you put this jersey on, remember that we're building a brotherhood and these are the guys that came before?
Yeah, I mean, it's about your legacy. And for guys that come in, we talk about how you want to leave the program once your time here is done. And obviously the goal is to leave it better than you found it, and you want to have a program and a college career that you can take pride in. And obviously the number once you leave is a reflection of your time here. So if you leave it better than you found it, and the guys coming back or coming into the program know about that history and know the standard that they're living up to, once again, it's like passing the torch. So absolutely.
For you, Clay, we've had time from earlier this year and the national tournament to now. What can you say about the journey for you as a coach in these last few months?
It was definitely different because we experienced more success than we've ever experienced throughout the course of the regular season, and that was the expectation. We weren't surprised by that at all. We knew the roster, we knew the talent. Like, we were expecting to be number 1 going into the national tournament, but it was new, and we got the matchup we wanted, in a sense where we felt good about how the tournament looked. Like, we had a legit shot. Like, all right, we feel good about this. In the past, our first round matchup, okay, we're playing the best team in the tournament first round. This year, and then last year when that happened, the year prior when it happened, we understood the importance of having a good seed going into the tournament, because you got to win 3 games in 4 days, and in order to do that, it's just, you got to find a rhythm. In the national tournament, there's a lot of pressure, there's a lot of build-up, and this year we felt that, and we learned from it, and it was obviously extremely disappointing with how the season ended, and it took a little bit to kind of like settle in and like just think about it and understand like exactly why things went the way they did, why we didn't execute the way we were supposed to. So it was definitely every year, it's always learning, it's always a new lesson. But this year, getting to where we were, we realized we're really close. Like, we are really close. And with the returning class we have that was there and experienced that, we're returning 8 of our top 10 rotation guys from last year. And again, they're coming back. Every single one of them knows they have to have a good summer. They have to earn those spots. But we have proven players at this level that experience that and realize how close we are and are hungry to get back there and redeem ourselves, because we know that we didn't do what we were supposed to do in that tournament. So I think the big lesson from it is now we know who we are, exactly where we want to go, where we want to get, and what we have to change to accomplish that. So there's a lot of clarity in the direction of the program and what needs to change to get to that next level. Not just be a winning team that is establishing a winning tradition, but being a championship caliber program. And we're a recruiting class away from guys that want to buy into that. And I'm so confident in our returning class that they're going to lead by example, because once again, we just experienced this. We built it to a certain level. We know what we have to change, and these are minor adjustments that, again, it takes time, but these guys get it. And I couldn't be more excited about our recruiting class right now, because we got some great high character guys that can play basketball that want to win.
And you spoke about championship caliber culture, and it's something that I brought up with the guys that have just signed on that we got to speak with. What are the pillars of that culture?
Being a great teammate is first and foremost. You got to care about the guy. It's a long season. It's a brotherhood. We spend a lot of time together. It's 5-6 months. You got to care about the success of the team more than your own individual success, because with a talented team, everybody has to sacrifice. Like, we have 5 guys that are potential pros coming back into our program, at least. Like, they're all of them could be first team All-Americans. We have a guy coming off the bench that was at his JUCO a 2-time All-Conference player, and he came off the bench as a 6th man, had huge impact. But you can't care about individual accolades. You have to care about team success, and you do that by being a great teammate. And then, just embracing competition. Every day in practice is a dogfight. It gets you know, our practices are different. Like, it's, you got to earn yours in our program, and that's what makes it fun. But like, if you're not built like that, you're not gonna last. And it's just as simple as that. Being a great teammate, having that competitive nature, and you know, also trust in the process, because it takes time. You know, you got to figure out where your role is, how you can impact the team, and you got to show up and be consistent every single day. And if you do that and you put in the work, like, you're gonna figure it out.
So, and I appreciate and I respect all of that. It's coming in here. You talked about you love the guys that are returning and you love what you're bringing in. Just to speak to that mix, because you and I spoke about it on the phone off the air, but what this team is going to look like, because there's kind of like an even balance numbers-wise of what you brought in and what you're bringing back.
Yeah, I mean, returning is obviously guys that experienced one on the journey last year. A ton of athleticism. A strength of ours is we have good size as a team. We're very solid at the center position. And then incoming, we got guards that, you know, again, we have some returning guards, but we have some guards that are going to be competing to be a point guard. We're bringing in a couple point guards, someone that can be an extension of us on the court. Once again, replacing Darren, number 4. Darren started almost every game for 3 years, so we need someone we can trust. And one of his greatest attributes was his consistency. And we knew every single night our point guard was going to be the best perimeter defensive player in the country. Like, we put him on the best player several times, and guys that were averaging 25 to 30 were neutralized. Like, all right, I don't got to worry about that guy on the scout. Darren's guarding him. We're good. Like, don't send help. He's good. Best perimeter player in the country, especially at containing the basketball.
Yeah.
So, you know, we got guys that are coming in fighting for that spot, and, you know, looking for guys that we can trust, that are just consistent, even-keeled individuals that can run a team.
And for you, there's a gentleman that did not get to play. You talk about having the size and having that inside presence.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love for you to share with the world one of the guys that is a good teammate, is a leader, was a voice of reason last year, and at the same time he had to wait from something out of his control and just getting his body back. So I'd love for you to share who's coming back.
Yeah, Tyrese Thompson, 6'8", 240 center. You know, he's actually, at this point, he's the only fourth-year player that we'll have in the program. The other guys that came in with him, part of my first initial recruiting class with the men's team, Darren Shamari, they graduated. Tyrese is still here, his last year in his bachelor's program. Coming off a tough injury, actually 2 years ago, and just it took time to get surgery, things healed and stuff like that, but he will be coming back. His recovery process, his rehab process seems like it's going well. And just like really proud of him, because it's obviously been extremely difficult. Any injury's tough, but then when it takes time to get back on track and get out there and contribute to the team on the court, obviously it's tough. And when you're just there and you have to contribute a different way, you have to be a team first guy and realize, where can I help, since I can't go out there and block shots and rebound and dunk and catch lobs. And Tyrese did it. And he was a leader in the locker room last year, even when he wasn't playing. So him coming back and being a presence on the court is something very exciting, because, again, he's had a journey, but he's also really going to give us a different dynamic in terms of just personnel on the court, and just, again, his leadership. He's been through it. He's seen the growth of the program from the very beginning to where it is at now, and I just know he's chomping at the bit to get back at it and go out there and win a national championship.
And knowing that he couldn't play and that he had to lean on his communication, how much do you think that that's going to develop him, or has developed him already, into a better leader? The fact that his words had to mean something, his timing of his words had to mean something, and his actions had to mean something, that whatever he could do outside of physically being on the court, what has that turned him into, essentially? And I'm asking that having seen it firsthand, but I want to know through your eyes.
I mean, it's definitely, like, he's more outgoing than when he first got here, and he doesn't shy away from confrontation. He doesn't shy away from voicing his opinion. And he's a great communicator. And for a basketball team, if your center, the anchor of your defense, can communicate, that's vital. That's where it all starts defensively. And obviously he's got to come back. He's got to earn that spot. But I think it's really going to translate to on-court confidence, which is huge for him, and also just communicating, keeping the team on the same page, and then just also elevating the culture. Like,
yeah.
We're getting there. We're at a great spot. He's seen it grow, and he knows we're also, like I said, where everyone knows what we have to do, and he's going to be a big part of that vocally for us.
I know that you have built here in the community of Central and Upstate New York. You're willing to go anywhere within the state to find people that are local, and you're also building and have built and continue to grow your relationships in New York City and in the 5 boroughs. Mm-hmm. I know you'll go outside of New York State if you have to, and you'll look out there, but just what you could say about having Syracuse across the chest for the Bobcats and what you've done to really dig roots here and make sure that guys know wherever they are in the state of New York that you're watching.
Yeah, it's about pride. I mean, I'm never moving from Syracuse. This is home. This is where my kids will grow up. This is where my wife grew up. This is home. I'm never leaving Syracuse. So putting it across the chest, like, it's about pride. It's about, also pride of the program, representing. We're a small college, sure, but we have a heck of a basketball program. We have a heck of an athletic department, and it's a high level. And yes, we don't have facilities. That's all you got. Like, if you're down talking about the program, that's all you got. Like, we utilize that to create great partnerships in the community to get the facilities. And outside of that, our students get a great student athlete experience, low cost, high level. Like, we travel. We did 5 overnights last year. We play NCAA D2s, NCAA every single level. We beat every single one of those levels. We're the best small college basketball program in the country. And Syracuse across the chest for a reason. And honestly, we're starting to tap into the local recruitment a little more than the past. I was at Salt City Pro-Am, and some, a great player from the community, I happened to be standing by him, and he didn't know who I was, and he was down talking to Bryant because they were talking about DeCoursey, and it was great. I listened to him kind of bash it for a minute, and I said, why do you think that? And he looked at me like, I was like, yeah, I'm the head men's basketball coach for 7 years. And there was a mom there as well, and we had an amazing conversation about the stigma, because the college as a whole has grown so much in 30-40 years, and people are starting to talk about us now, but they don't know. They just have assumptions because they don't know. Yeah. And it's about tapping into the community. All right, they're talking about us now, but what are they talking about? I was like, come to campus. By the end of the conversation, and he knows players on the team, he's played with players on the team, he was like, oh, wow, like, this could actually be an option for me right now. And not just a option, a great option where I could go out and display my talent and go on to the next level. So, it's about, once again, just Syracuse. It's putting us on the map. Syracuse University, obviously, amazing NCAA Division I program. But it's not just the big universities in town that play at a national level. The small college does too. And we compete for championships, and we develop pros, and we graduate students.
Yeah, and like I said, getting on that bus. I mean, you see that bus over and over again, and you follow the NCAA tournament, cover the NCAA tournament, and you see those guys get on the bus and off the bus. But when you get on a Bryant and Stratton bus, like I did last year, and you get off that bus, I don't see a difference in tenacity, care, love of the game, that want to win. Like, being on that bus, to me, you're not telling me it's a USCAA bus versus an NCAA bus. You're not telling me it's a small college bus versus a big college bus. To me, being on that, there is just a certain feel that you get. And I told you, I mean, it's one of the greatest honors of my life to be on that bus. And the book bag that was given to me that I did not expect, that was a present from the school, and that Knowles put my 21 on, I use that bag as my when I travel with my equipment and I bring my show anywhere in the country, anywhere in the world. That is the bag that I use. And I mean, we have broadcasted in Italy recently, in Rome, in Capri, in the water. Like, I take it to heart. And when I get on a plane and I have that, I want somebody to ask me like, oh, did you play? Oh, you work with the team? Like, what's that all about? I want you to see it, and I want you to know it, because that, and the first time I ever used that bag and spent any time with it was on that bus. And so when you say, the stigma of a small college and people not knowing, I'd say this all the time. Most of the people that claim to hate or not like or don't respect, it's typically over something they don't know. And once you get to know something, I find it hard to truly hate something when you actually get to know what it is and what it's about. People should not talk, and people do this all the time in this country. Freedom of speech, they think, is the freedom to kind of just say whatever they want without any education, with having a lot of ignorance and no logic. Bryant and Stratton College, you know this very well, Clay. I do not put my time and energy into things I don't believe in, into things that I don't care about, and I most certainly do not wear a logo if I don't respect it. And coming here means a lot to me, and there's a lot of importance to this, and I turned down a lot of things last year to get on a bus with you. And that is because of the guys, it's because of Nolan, it's because of X, it's because of Brooke, it's because of Mary, it's obviously because of our relationship. And it's one of the greatest, like I said, it was one of the greatest honors of my life, and I take it to heart. I've been to so many NCAA tournaments and interviewed people from all over this country, and being on that bus, I would say, is no different than me going out to Detroit or going to Chicago or going to Houston. There's a professionalism with this team, and it's not just you that's saying it.
I love it. I mean, the last thing I'll say is we had 10 returners, or 11 eligible returners. The 10 we chose to bring back are coming back for a reason.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you said let's not, but I'm gonna say no. We're playing rapid fire. So you get to ask me the first question.
Who's your favorite player on our team and why?
That's not fair at all. I don't like that, because these guys are gonna make me live with this on the bus. Oh man. Who's my favorite? I think my favorite.
It's tough, I know.
It's really tough.
Who do you want to be a teammate with?
Honestly, when you ask me that, and I can't this year, but it's Darren. I mean, like, if I had to pick of history of men's basketball here, it's Darren. But
That's a good answer.
what did he say?
So if you play continuous threes, so you can pick it up in continuous threes.
Oh, it's Shamari.
I mean,
Ari and
so J.O. is the guy that if I had to pick somebody right now, it's not just because of basketball, it's because there's a lot of reasons, but one of the reasons is that I love hearing him playfully fight with X. It makes me I love those conversations so much. And by the way, it's like I want to create a shirt with a hashtag Word to Soul, because he says it all the time. So I feel like I got to get something like that for J.O. But I also think because he is the player of the year last year, and whatever politics people want to play in USCAA, we all know who the player of the year was last year, statistically and realistically. And you can't fault a guy because Bryant and Stratton Syracuse is beating teams so bad that you take your player out so he doesn't get injured. So I think that he absolutely is last year's player of the year, and there is something about the way that he looked at that, handled that, and the look on his face. I have a respect for him that I don't even think he knows how deep that respect goes. And I feel like his agent. Like, this year you're the player of the year, last year you were the player of the year, and we're going to make sure that this year people know it beyond recognition, like beyond any form of anything, that they know who you are on the court. And I like the way that he handled it. So I'm going to pick him because I like talking with him. I'm going to pick him because there's more to the surface than people get. And I'm going to pick him because the last year's player of the year deserves to be spoken about. I don't even remember who they picked for player of the year because it doesn't even matter. And it's no disrespect to the person that they chose, but obviously politics played a part in that. And I felt like when we were at the awards ceremony last year, I felt like I was at the Emmys and not at an actual basketball award ceremony. So
I love it.
that's my answer.
J.O.
My question back to you, J.O. My question back to you: if you had to leave practice and trust one of the guys on the team returning to coach effectively and to get everything that you need, who is the person that you would hand the whistle to? and why?
Is Dallas, Justice Carrington. I mean, he was a captain for a reason.
Yeah, he's gonna hate that I didn't pick him too because I love Dallas. But.
He's just that. I mean, he's a team first guy. I mean, he was obviously a great player. He was a starter, captain, and then he kind of brought up the idea of bringing him off the bench, rotation wise in terms of fit, and he put the team first when it came to that, and that's just like an example of kind of the everyday mentality he has. Like, he really has to at times just put himself first more often because it's almost a detriment. He's such a team first guy. So for that reason, great energy every day, and he's just locked in. He's just someone that I know he would get the guys competing and have good energy. So I definitely trust Dallas with that.
Yeah, and I sat here last year with Dallas, and I cannot say enough about the conversation that I had with David and Dallas. And I shook their hand and said to them at the beginning of the season, if y'all go to the national tournament, I'm going with you. And they said, he doesn't understand, he just punched his ticket. And then we went to the national tournament as the number 1 seed. So I have a lot of respect for David and Dallas, and they know how much I care about them, how much I love them, way beyond basketball. I'll let you off the hook. You won't have to do 3. You got one more question for me. What do you got?
If you and Nolan play 1-on-1 to 11, what's the score? And who's winning?
Man, I love Knowles.
And just know, after you answer this, you're actually going to have to play eventually on film.
I know. I understand that. But him and Brooke never finished their game. So that game, we tried to get that game in for a while. I will say, man, see, I'm not going to talk trash because when I talk trash, I lose every single time. So I will play Knowles. I need to stretch. My hamstring on my left leg has been real tight lately. But I need to stretch. I need to get right. But I will say that I love the sport of basketball. It never ever leaves me. And I respect Knowles. I'd rather play with him than against him. But if we have to play against each other, I will not give a score. I will not give a winner. Because if I say I'm going to win, I will lose. And if I give you a score and it's on my favor, I will lose. I cannot trash talk until I have to put the ball down, get in my car, leave, and then trash talk is a joke because I still feel like God's going to hit me with lightning. I can't trash talk because it never works in my favor. So, Knowles, I will not say anything, but I will play you. I will play you. And
I'll call it. It's mandatory. So.
Yeah, and if I win, Knowles buys us pizza. If I lose, then Knowles buys me a slice. That's No, but in all honesty, he knows how much I care about him, and I'm going to say this on the air, and I hope he can appreciate this. He's right off camera. But I've worked with a lot of SIDs in these years, and I've had a lot of, my vision has never changed, but I've worked with a lot of people that really don't seem to care about their job. They kind of mail it in. As soon as that clock can hit that hour, they're gone. And they don't care about communication. They don't care about effectiveness. They don't care about relationships. And it's been really, really hard to deal with some people in sports information that don't value their job. I don't get that from you. And I know that sometimes we'll talk every day, and sometimes we won't talk for months. And I just want you to understand and fully know that I respect your level of work, your professionalism, and I don't stand with a lot of people in the job that I've chosen. I don't stand next to a lot of SIDs that treat the world the way that you do. And it makes me feel like I'm not doing it by myself, so I appreciate that. So, just so you know that. My last question for you, Clay. If you could play one-on-one with who you consider to be your biggest and most dangerous adversary on the current roster of Bryant and Stratton College men's basketball, who are you playing, and why did you pick them?
I mean, I play one-on-one often against the guys.
Okay.
I beat Shamari 2 years ago. He was really trying. He got smoked. He remembers that day.
So you talk trash. I can't.
That's when Shamari woke up a little bit.
Okay.
Jordan's the one that he's a tough matchup. I'm not gonna lie, Jordan's a tough matchup. Jareem got 5-0'd. That was bad. Who haven't I played? I beat Keyshawn because he was wearing Crocs. So he says he was wearing Crocs. That's why he lost.
I feel like if you show up to a game in Crocs,
I want to play Keon 1-on-1.
Okay.
And that'll happen. That'll be tough. I'm not gonna lie, that's gonna be tough, but that'd be a good matchup. I would like to have the opportunity to beat him, because if I did beat him, I would never let him live it down, and it'd be worth it. And honestly, he's probably just gonna shoot jump shots anyway. So
you don't think he'll try to dunk on you?
It'll be easy enough to play defense, because I don't gotta protect the paint. Just let him shoot. If he makes shots that day, he'll probably win, but that could go either way. I know I'm making my shots, so.
All right, Keon. So there you go.
Tag him right now.
It has been put down. It has been stamped into reality. So we have at least a 2-part event. Nolan and I up against each other, and you and Keon.
Let's go.
It'll be fun. This is also actually, you and Nolan are a witness to the fact that I said I need 5 half-court shots, and I'll make one of them, and I made the first one that I took.
That's a fact. I was there. That happened.
It happened 3 times in 3 different gyms, all with a witness. And then, a few months ago, within the past 3 months, I was down in Florida playing on an outdoor court, and I told somebody I'd never played before. I said I need 5, and I took 4. 3 of those 4 looked like they were going in. They were all close, but 3 of them looked like they were on. The 5th one I took went up, went down. I went up to him. I said, I told you I need 5. Mm-hmm. So you're a witness to that, and so is Nolan. So with that being said, for Clay Gagen-Sherman, the Thor stand-in. So if you want to know who in Marvel was doing all the heavy lifting and actually picking up the hammer, it was Clay Gagen-Sherman. Bryant and Stratton College basketball. Bryant and Stratton College basketball here with us. Men's basketball side for the Bobcats, Clay Gagen-Sherman, and of course here on the heels of 2 new signees coming into the team. Bunch of returners, bunch of new faces, and a team that you need to go out and support. This is something that I want you to take with you, put it in your memory, and keep it forever. The Bobcats are worth the time, worth the energy, and worth everybody out there that's looking for a home and a place to continue your scholastic life, as well as to continue the love for basketball and all the sports that they have here. So much appreciation to the Bobcats and our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership, the Bobcat Buzz, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. As always, we appreciate you for watching and listening. Appreciate you, Clay.
Appreciate you, man.
And appreciate everybody here, and we'll talk with you very soon. Stay safe and stay well. And I want to thank you for tuning in to Wake Up Call here this morning, where sports truly meets that thing called life. Those 3 trios from the Bryant and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse, all coming to you in our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with Bryant and Stratton College of Syracuse and the Bobcats, that being the men's basketball team, Clay Gagen-Sherman one more time, as well as new signees to the program, DeCoursey, Corley, as well as Camden, Atkinson. Want to thank you for being here with us this morning and every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt and on wakeupcalldt.podbean.com, as well as on facebook.com/wakeupcalldt. Of course, once the shows go live, you could find us in the archives on Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, as well as Podbean, Player FM, Podchaser.com, Podvine, Spotify, TuneIn, and YouTube. All you have to do is search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. And I can't thank you all enough for your support in being with us on all of these channels. And of course, we just added to these channels recently this week, so make sure you check out what's on the channels today by searching Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. Big time thanks to the Brooklyn Pickle down in North Carolina on 1788 Old Morganton Road in Southern Pines, North Carolina. You can connect with them right down the road from Pinehurst Golf Course, which the PGA knows all too well. And we appreciate everybody going down to Brooklyn Pickle in Southern Pines, North Carolina, to enjoy all that they have to offer. Us here in New York know how great the sandwiches are and know that a half is a whole and a whole is two sandwiches. Now Southern Pines, North Carolina gets to know all about what it means to truly get some good eating at Brooklyn Pickle. So make sure you head over there today. And of course, they are with us for our segment in a New York Minute that airs weekly. Big time thanks to all of our partners in Central and Upstate New York, including Great Lakes Honda City, the Wildcat Sports Pub, Carvel DeWitt, where we have our own sundae, the DT Dolphin, which is mint chocolate chip green for the Dolphins, hot fudge whipped cream and a cherry, topped off with green and gold sprinkles and a chocolate dolphin jumping out of your whipped cream, and is available 7 days a week exclusively at Carvel DeWitt down the street from Moyne College. And on Wednesdays like today, you can get 2 for the price of 1. Buy 1, get 1 DT Dolphin on Wednesdays. So make sure you go over there and get one today. Many thanks to GG Cards and Brakes, Ma and Pa's, Avicoles, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Mother's Cupboard, where I have my own sandwich that was mentioned today by Nate Champion, the Cuse Mac Mother. You can get the Cuse Mac Mother, my exclusive breakfast sandwich, at Mother's Cupboard 7 days a week from 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. on 3709 James Street in Syracuse, New York. Bacon, egg, and cheese inside of 2 pieces of French toast. Cut it up and have it with some syrup. Pick it up and eat it like a sandwich. Today, only at Mother's Cupboard. Chick-fil-A Cicero, Canine Campground Dog Boarding, Pizza Man, Brian's Landing, and we are the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your Moyne College Dolphins. It's Fins Up every single month on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Find your Dolphins Wednesdays like today at 9 a.m. Eastern Time during Dolphin Time with student athletes, coaches, administration, alumni, future Dolphins, and more. You will find our Dolphins here with us on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. You can find all of our content by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and find our Lemoyne playlist. The Dolphins are also on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to LemoyneDolphins.com and Fins Up. The Bryant and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Find your Bobcats every single month where sports truly meets that thing called life right here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. In the Bobcat Buzz, you got a trio of the Bobcat Buzz today, and celebrating 2 new signees to the men's basketball program at Bryant and Stratton College of Syracuse. Coming off being in the national tournament as the number 1 seed in the entire country, the Bobcats are adding a bunch of new student athletes to the program, including DeCoursey, Corley, and Camden, Atkinson, who you got to hear from today, and head coach Clay Gagen-Sherman. You'll find all of our content by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and find our BSC Syracuse playlist. The Bobcats are also on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to syracuse.bscbobcats.com and go Bobcats. The Binghamton University Bearcats are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Find your Bearcats every Tuesday during Bearcat time here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Eastern Time worldwide. The Bearcats are here with you with student athletes, coaches, administration, and alumni joining the broadcast, and you will find all of our content by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and find our Binghamton playlist. The Bearcats are also on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to binghamtonbearcats.com and go Bearcats. With that being said, here on the show, I want to thank you for tuning in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. I want to thank my guests inside of Ma and Pa's Popcorn.com's What's Poppin'. Big time thanks to Nate Champion, Lemoyne Dolphins men's basketball head coach heading into year 3 in their transition from NCAA D2 to D1. And many thanks to the Bryant and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse for a trio of exclusive Bobcat Buzz interviews with DeCoursey, Corley, as well as Camden, Atkinson, and head coach Clay Gagen-Sherman of the men's basketball team. And, of course, you'll find us all the time on Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, X at Call DT, and Instagram at Wake Up Call _DT. For now, from the Great Lakes Honda City Studios, I ask you to have a wonderful day, be kind to yourself and each other, and as always, God bless, no stress, do your best. We'll talk soon. Let God be your guide.